Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic in our beautiful MusicTown studios here on the second floor of Hockeytown, downtown Detroit. Thanks for tuning in. Do appreciate that. Got another good guest this week. Looking forward to talking with and definitely hearing the music. Please welcome Matthew Ball. Hi, Matthew.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your wonderful show.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in. I'm really excited about today. I was like,
okay.
I could just feel it already. I'm going to be pumped up from hearing your music today. Of course, you are the Boogie Woogie Kid.
That's me. That's my online avatar.
Okay. Interesting name, but
yeah.
Who coined that for you?
Oh, okay. I actually have a story behind that. So I kind of derived that way back when there was this viral comedy YouTube video that was going around from a guy named thekidfrombrooklyn.com. And he was complaining about the high price of Starbucks coffee. And I was a Starbucks fiend back then. So I just kind of switched some words around, and I was looking for something that had the word boogie woogie in it so that anybody who was looking for some boogie woogie music could find me easily.
Right.
And so Boogie Woogie Kid came about.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I've been doing music a long time, 17 years now. Yeah. Maybe 17 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good name. Again, like you said, the Boogie Woogie, so if someone's looking for that,
yeah.
You're going to pop up somehow.
Yes.
Not too many things have that name in it. I mean, you're specifically the music, but as far as a person goes, I don't think there's other people with that Boogie Woogie in their name or title.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I didn't try that. I didn't try just typing in Boogie Woogie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you are the Boogie Woogie Kid.
Yes.
That's hard to say if I say it too many times.
Okay.
But a great story. First of all, you really have both ends of the spectrum. You're an attorney.
Yeah, don't hold that against me.
Okay, yeah. I know. I've been dealing with a lot of attorneys lately.
Okay.
But no, I won't hold that against you. But it's interesting because, you played music before you decided to go into school for law, and music was a big part of it, but you decided maybe music wasn't going to be sufficient enough or to be able to support you, or what was the thinking behind going into law school?
Yeah, I was just kind of following the conventional thought that, you don't want to be a starving artist in life, so you better diversify and get yourself educated in a different way. So for me, that meant pursuing law school. And I went to law school, became an attorney, but also around that period of time, I was reading a lot of self-help and this idea of if you follow your passion, it will make you an expert, and your expertise will provide for you an income and a lifestyle.
Okay.
And so after not liking the experience of practicing law pretty quickly, I went back to my first passion. And to many extents, I've been able to make that self-help equation work for me. Like I said, I've been doing music now 17, 18 years as a full-time thing. I teach as well as perform. So.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, how long were you a bona fide lawyer that you thought, okay, I can't do this. This is not what I really want to do. I mean, how long did it take before you realized? Yeah,
I finished in 97 law school. I got licensed by early 98, and I practiced probably for about 4 years.
Okay.
And I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, I was a big corporate attorney. I worked for Walmart. And then I switched sides and did a little bit of plaintiff's work. And I just didn't like it any which way. I think in hindsight, maybe I would have stayed in the academic realm of it.
Okay.
And that would have been more suitable. Or maybe go into policy and politics. That would have been.
Well, it's probably very helpful now when with contracts and stuff with your music and, your licensing and all of that. So I'm sure it comes in handy now. So
from time to time.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, all those years of school didn't go to waste. Very cool. All right. So, but you don't still practice law, do you?
No, I don't
Okay.
practice these days. I've been doing music full time for a long time now.
Well, it
Yeah.
seems to have worked for you.
Yeah.
So, you know, which you mentioned earlier, YouTube, and this just blows my mind that, really YouTube really made you take off because you had like over 4 million viewers, which is huge.
Yeah, today I have cumulatively approximately 4.5 million
Wow.
YouTube views, and so I get about 35,000 views a month, and it's just been. I didn't expect that to happen,
Yeah.
but it's been a benefit because in terms of teaching, I teach on Skype now, and they become acquainted with me from YouTube. So I've been able to teach really all over the world.
That is cool that you do that. So where are some of your students living?
The
where have
farthest
they
has
lived?
been Israel and Malaysia
Wow.
and Australia,
Wow.
but most of them are in the United States. I have several that are over on the West Coast, and some on the East Coast, some up and down the Midwest Channel, so to speak.
Yeah.
So really all over.
That really is, for someone who's a teacher, that's a great way. You don't have to leave your house,
Right.
first of all, dead of winter, and you're just like, okay, get my coffee and then turn on the Skype. That is huge. I don't know of too many musicians who teach do that.
I don't know. I mean, it works for this particular genre because it's a very niche thing, and you don't play this genre through the traditional assets of score interpretation and note reading. So it's not like you pick up a piece of sheet music, put it in front of you, and play Boogie Woogie. It's still very much an oral tradition, oral both ways, O-R as well as A-U-R. And so there's some science behind it, obviously. It's not rocket science, but it takes some time. And then after a certain point, you become a self-sufficient learner, which means you have trained yourself to play by ear,
Oh, okay.
essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's big if you can.
More than you want to know, probably, but yeah.
Well, it's working for you, obviously. How many students do you have right now?
I always,
On average, I should.
yeah, on average, I always carry somewhere between 20 and 30.
A week?
A week, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's full time with the performing,
Yes.
and I do travel to perform. So like Monday night, I was down in Ohio, and I'll come right back, and so it's a pretty full schedule. It
And,
works out.
well, you could probably do that on the road as well. If you have your computer.
Well, I probably could if I was savvier Facebooker or savvier tech guy, but that just it goes so fast. I feel like I'm falling behind every minute of
Wow.
the day with technology.
Interesting. I think it's a great idea. I mean,
Yeah.
Kudos. Someone else did that, or you just thought of it yourself, or how did that
What, Skype?
Skyping to teach?
It's just something, I don't know how that came about
Okay.
now. Oh, I know what it was. I had a kid, and I having the traffic of in the house teaching just became
Yeah.
not as reasonable to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I had a child, I was looking for ways to just, again, diversify my income making. And that's when I started really kind of centering on the Skype lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Interesting.
it.
Very cool. Well, we need to hear a song.
Yeah, well, so we're talking about
I
Boogie
know.
Woogie.
I know.
So most of what I do is, and we're going to do, I know, some originals here, but maybe if I can start off with what I do most of the time. This is an original piece of
Go
Boogie
for
Woogie. Yeah. So this is an original piece of Boogie Woogie, and most of what I do is a tribute-esque type of show to New Orleans and swing era music, which is
Yeah.
boogie woogie, blues, jazz, and ragtime. And this is a little boogie woogie I wrote for my son. When he was a toddler, he would dance around to it. And it's called Owens Boogie. So this one would just start with something instrumental maybe, okay?
Okay. The Boogie Woogie Kid with us here on MusicTown for Behind the Mic. Nice. Like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Not too many people, I mean, a lot of people that play piano, I mean, that's really a small niche with the Boogie Woogie.
It is.
So what made you decide to, go that route?
Well, it's what spoke to me. And so even though, technically speaking, I suppose it's under the larger umbrella of jazz music, it's a very, it's a niche. That I found it spoke to me because it's a very animated music, and it's a music that you'll see a very normal reaction from 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds to very old react to it in an animated way. They might get up and wiggle around or dance.
Well, it makes you want to get up and move for sure. Tap the toes, something,
Yeah, which for me is a different kind of reaction to the predominant kind of jazz that we hear on the radio.
Yeah.
And throughout most of the places here in the city. So to me, it's the kind of jazz that I liked and that spoke to me. And I can't say there's any other good reason, outside of this. I love it.
Well, if it speaks to you, I think that's a good reason.
Yeah.
And you learned how to play the piano. Did your mom play? Is it
yeah, well, not formally, but yes.
Okay.
So I started informally with family members showing me a little bit, but then very quickly they got me into formal, classical study, and I was classically trained all the way through college, and I had a great opportunity to study with a real master in the classical sense there. So I didn't come to this music until much later. I was already 30 years old when I went to this Boogie Woogie and Blues Festival and got hooked on it then. But all my study experience had been in that classical world.
But it helps you now with the Boogie Woogie, I would imagine.
Yes. It gave me, of course, the finger dexterity to do it, and but in some ways it's a very different approach to the keyboard, and so in some ways what you might intuit as the right answers from a technical standpoint, I'm talking about fingering choices and kind of insider stuff that maybe won't be relevant to your listeners. But from that standpoint, I had to kind of unlearn some things and relearn a different way of approaching the keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was the route you wanted to go, so I'll unlearn it if I have to unlearn it, right? Kind of thing.
But it was helpful to have that, the head start with the classical training. Sure.
And do you sing as well, or no?
Yep. If it's okay, well, I'll sing one for you.
Okay.
We'll sing several others. So I'm going to do a take. I do a lot of these old standards, and then maybe after this one we can do an original.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So this is, as I said, I like to play New Orleans type of blues and jazz music. And New Orleans is famous for bluesing and jazzing up some of these old spirituals. This is called When the Saints Go Marching In.
Oh, yeah.
Saints, they go marching in. Ah, when the saints, they go marching in.
Got a fan at our window over here. Nice.
Thank you.
Little different version than what you're used to hearing.
Yeah, I strive to try to do something creative with it.
Do you like to take some of the old songs and just do your own twist on it? Is that something you really dig into?
I try to, because because I'm humble enough to realize that I don't have an American Idol voice, and so for me, I've got good fingers, but for me, if I'm not doing something unique, then I'm probably not gonna stand out. So
good point. Good point. I mean, how far can you take a song? How much liberty do you have? Especially a good old classic.
Yeah.
But people like a little variety of the songs that we're familiar with. So
yeah, I hope so. I try.
You try.
It's a never-ending, self-improvement effort. So.
Well, plus the genre, with Boogie Woogie, there's so many that are older, that really lends itself to be played that way.
Yeah.
I would think. So, it makes it a little easier. Maybe not. No, I don't know.
Yeah, no, and it's not like the rhythm textures that I'm using or applying to some of these songs. That's not a terribly new idea. They'll be the same kind of rhythm textures that you might hear out of like a Dixieland band or something. Even though I'm doing it in a piano-driven way, I'm just sometimes I'm just absorbing from different sources and orchestrating for the keyboard.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Do you do you write your own songs? You've got like 3 or 4 CDs. I don't know if it's all covers or all originals.
No, I've got some originals, and I'll play one of those for you too. But I in terms of just the marketing of doing music, I found that I can get more doors open more of the time with the tribute angle, and then once you're in the door, you can share a little bit of yourself in that musical set.
Yeah, and plus when people, for example, on the YouTube where you're a hit, they type in, search for the older songs, and then all of a sudden your versions come up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you find more fans that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to search for one of your originals because they don't have a clue.
Right. That's right.
Put in one of the classics or whatever, and then people will find you that way. Do you think that's part of why your YouTube has exploded so much? Do you think
that and the fact that I think I got in at a good window of time. I think YouTube today is saturated, and
that it is.
Yeah, and at the time it wasn't. I didn't have this design of becoming this YouTube personality in the boogie woogie world, but I was just looking for a way to validate my learning efforts, because so much of it was on my own. It wasn't. In the classical study, I was so used to having the mentor set you on the right path and encourage or discourage you in one direction or another. And so this was, I guess, a way to do the same thing, but the world has become my mentor, and they will tell you if they don't like something.
Really?
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's brutal sometimes, huh?
Yeah. Court of public opinion.
Yes, we've all been a part of that. You talked about the blues and everything, but there's a term that I was not familiar with. It was called the barrel house blues.
Sure.
So I've never heard that before.
Okay, well, a lot of these terms that are that kind of circle around this style of music, blues and boogie woogie, are they can have multiple meanings or layered meanings, and they can be used in reference to actually just the same thing. So the word ragtime, the word stride, the word barrel house, all of those are a collection of ideas that reference a very rhythm-filled way of playing the piano that became popular in the early part of the 20th century.
Right.
and really gained, at least in terms of specifically Boogie Woogie, kind of reached its celebrity age after a 1938 Carnegie Hall concert event that ushered in the art form to a larger universe of people, basically, because it had, it grew up as a black folk art form in the segregated world that America was back then. And so, but after this 1938 concert event, which highlighted a number of music professionals that we now know as celebrities, people like Lena Horne and Count Basie, there were the three piano guys who were playing this very avant-garde form of jazz called Boogie Woogie: Albert Ammons, Pete Johnson, and Meade Lux Lewis. And after the performances they gave that night, they would go on to enjoy an equal amount of celebrity. For example, Albert Ammons was given an honorary doctorate of music from Columbia University and even asked to perform for President Truman at his inaugural. So that would be like, one of the big rock stars performing for the president
rock
today.
Stars.
Yeah. But then it swept into the big bands and became this dance craze for that whole generation. And, many people will advocate that it just became reshaped into rock and roll, or the early rock and rollers like Jerry Lee Lewis and Fats Domino. And there's another big one I'm forgetting right now, but yeah. So Barrel House.
I'm not sure which one you were.
So yeah, Barrel House is just another term for this rhythm-filled way of playing the piano. That is an American invention. Of course, it was not something that the Europeans had come up with. And part of the toe-tapping quality is this swing, also referred to as syncopation or lilt or whatever. And that's the common thread of all jazz, they say, the swing. And that was met with, some derision as well. There's a famous quote from the John Philippe Sousa, the band composer that all the marching bands still play his music. And he had this quote. He said, "If jazz is going to continue, it'll be because people hear it in their feet and not their brains." So that's
makes sense.
That's a snapshot of the kind of reaction that people had to this novelty of swing, which is an American invention, and of course mostly from the African American culture.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump to the Pam exam.
Okay.
Random questions.
All right.
Nothing scary. Just off the top of your head, whatever comes to mind. What is your system for writing a song, if you have a system?
Yeah, for me, the music always comes first. And then I feel like the syllables of the lyrics have to meld with the rhythm of the music. And just in terms of my own listening experience, if I don't like the music, I can't tune into the lyrics. So for me, the music is first.
I agree with that. It's like it's got to hook you there. I mean, of course, there's some great songs that those lyrics are just phenomenal, of course. But the majority of the time, the music has to hook you first, and before you even hear anything as far as the words go. Let's see here. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I guess to read people's minds.
Oh, that could get dangerous.
Yeah. I think that would be my superpower, because I'm often trying to unlock and understand, like, why didn't I get that gig,
Oh, yeah.
So I wish I could understand that better sometimes.
Or when you're performing and all these people in the audience, it's like, you could hear things that they're saying.
Is that a good one to them, or did they like that?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff,
That could be good, I suppose. Favorite food and beverage of choice?
These days, I'm mostly a vegetarian. So,
okay.
But let me see. What is my favorite food? I don't know. Does coffee still count? I still
Well, I said
feel
beverage,
like
so yeah.
Yeah, I still feel like I need coffee. I've tried to give it up, and it's like my last vice.
You got to have something, right?
Yeah.
All right. Is there a song, person, or an event that inspired you to go into the music business? I think we kind of touched on that earlier.
Okay. Yeah, well, today I don't really look to specific personalities as inspiration. I look to ideas, and YouTube is a great source from that. I feel like the internet has opened this different world of inspiration up, so that I'll go on YouTube and, like, if I'm going to try to do a song, I'll go research how many different ways that song has already been done.
Okay.
Like a standard, something like Over the Rainbow. And I'll say, oh, I like that part of what he did. I like that part of what that guy did. And I do have some favorite YouTube guys. They're not celebrities, you know what I mean? I just...
Usually aren't.
Right. I just love their... I love their idea capital that they put into the keyboard on a particular song. And so, for me, inspiration isn't centered around one personality anymore.
Just at that moment, something that you hear or whatever, maybe an inspiration for it. Yeah. Interesting. If you could have any one person in your band or collaborate with, and they could be dead or alive at this point, who would that be?
Well, there's a drummer who is still alive. Well, couple of drummers. There's this guy, I don't even know where he lives, but there's this West Coast ragtime festival, and I don't play ragtime. I play, at least in the ragtimer's mind. That's not ragtime. But there's this guy who gets up and plays with some of the ragtimers at this festival, and he just gets up with a snare drum and brushes and nothing else, and just kills it. And his name is Danny Coots. I don't know him. I've never met him. I just have seen him on YouTube, and that is awesome to me.
Danny Coots?
Danny Coots.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so he can do the whole song with, does he sing along with it or just play?
No, he doesn't sing. It's drum accompaniment to ragtime style music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to envision it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
It's for my taste. It's a dry sound.
Yeah.
As opposed to a lot of the jazz drummers out there in the world are going to be heavy on cymbals. And,
Yes.
You know, and cymbals have a way of sometimes drowning out the percussive quality of boogie woogie patterns. But if that's what you're trained in and that's your go-to rhythm, it's hard to step away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy does something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Which is why he's probably inspired you, or or
I just like to play with him.
intrigued by him.
Yeah, I just like to pair some boogie woogie with that. Yeah.
Interesting. Should contact him.
Yeah. I have been out to the West Coast, just not that far south.
So normally when you play out, or you're just you and your keyboard, right? You don't have anyone else with you, or no?
Most of the time, from time to time, I will play with a drummer.
Okay.
And I'm not adverse. I mean, I've tried a trio actually with a singer, a female-fronted singer. I've tried a little bit of everything, but sometimes it's just easiest to just work on your own. And
You and the keyboard.
yeah, yeah.
And plus you always have to worry about scheduling everybody at the same. They can all have the same nights open to do
it
the
gets
gig.
complicated.
So no, it works for you. Do you have a steady gig at this point? That you like a regular?
I go wherever I'm welcome. So it's always different, but I've had the good fortune of staying busy. Like I said, it's a niche thing, and it works really well with the very young and the very old. And I would like to have a steady gig if anyone's out there and wants to, kind of brand their place with a different kind of music. I would like to have that, but I've never had something regular.
Yeah.
I've always just gone wherever.
So
I'm welcome.
you teach over Skype, all over the country, and some over the seas. You play, you write the music. You perform a lot. It seems like, and plus you have a family, with a son who's very busy and stuff. So, I mean, is there something other than getting a regular gig? But is there something that you really would love to achieve at this point? Because you've accomplished a lot so far.
Yeah, well, I would like, and I had this for a period of time, but it wasn't a good one. I would like to have tour management or talent representation, so that I'm not the only one hustling all the work. And sometimes I'll travel and schedule these tours where I'm gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
But that means grabbing a seed gig and then routing in a couple of things at least around it, which is it's a hustle.
That takes a lot of time, and a lot of musicians, would rather be writing and performing.
Yeah.
And so, that would. So again, it's out there now. If there's someone that wants to manage this guy,
Yeah.
I want to manage Matthew. He's all ears. If you had to, if you had access to a time machine, where would you go and when?
I'd go back to a time before school loans. I think
Before school what?
Before school loans were in
Loans.
existence. I go back to a time when health insurance wasn't a coupon and school loans didn't exist. Anytime that was around, where
That's funny.
life, it seemed, was a little bit more straight ahead at you.
Most memorable music moment?
Oh gosh, I don't know. The inspiration maybe for me getting into this, that was back in 2001 at a they were calling them the Motor City Boogie Woogie Festivals back then. They're no longer around, but I suppose that would be a pivotal point.
Did you? I'm not familiar with that. I don't remember that one. But what year was that?
Well, for me it was 2001, but I think they began them maybe 97 or 98. So
That's too bad that's not around for you.
yeah, I know.
Start one up. Start it back up.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's getting into I do organize some things, but it's not like one of those big things where you got to ask a lot of money from sponsors and things.
Oh yeah. I've talked to people that do festivals and stuff, and there's a lot to that, and getting it, just the logistics of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You need a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people to pull
Yes.
that kind of stuff off. But
Yes.
not impossible.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you've got to really. It takes a lot of time and effort, but
Yeah.
be kind of cool.
I mean, I do a small microcosm. I've had this multiple piano project that I've been working with once or twice a year, where it's 4 pianists and it's a timeline show from ragtime to rock and
fun.
roll, and that's been successful. And then I also, in conjunction with my local library, I organize a summer gazebo concert series.
In Clawson, is it?
Clawson, yeah. And so my wife and I were the spearheads for starting that up. It's been very well received, very successful. We're in our second year now. And so we're going to continue it. And but there's where you get a taste of what organizing is, and it's a lot of work.
Do you ever do any kind of what's the word on dueling pianos?
Not dueling, but like I will, like in that show, the Ragtime and Rock and Roll, we will have like piano duets.
Okay.
The last time we did it was, I did one here at Cliff Bell's just couple weeks back with
Great
5,
jazz bar down around the corner here.
Yeah, with 5 other pianists. But we did a real nice one out at the Pix Theater, and there we had the opportunity to have a keyboard and a piano. We were able to do some duets, and kind of at the
dueling
finales.
pianos is always fun to watch.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's fun.
well, these guys, usually they go at it, and it's pretty fun. Do you have a favorite Detroit museum?
I
area?
love the DIA.
DIA, that's always a big one, yeah.
It's an amazing
It's a gem.
place.
We have a gem with that one.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a while. I need to. Let's see. Imagine Detroit's own Walk of Fame along the riverfront. Who gets the next 3 stars?
I might have to pass on that one because I just look at fame differently, and like I said, I'm less inspired by personality these days as much as a specific idea capital that comes from an individual. So I can't name I can't name
We'll let you
personalities because I don't I no longer think that way.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age, it's all about the celebrities seem to be put on
can't
the
stand it.
pedestals.
Yeah, I can't
Kind of
stand it.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so interesting thought on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew, how about another song?
Yeah, let's do. I'll play an original for
Oh,
you.
okay.
So, or maybe a couple originals. So these are the kinds of things that don't necessarily fit into my marketing scheme of the music that I play, but I get a chance to share now and then. So
Okay.
here's a little love song type of thing. It's called "Tell Me Why We Ain't." I'm looking at you, and you're looking at me too. Tell me why we ain't. I can feel this, and I know you feel it too. Tell me why we ain't. You said we'd stay friends, you said we'd stay in touch. Tell me why we ain't. You got somebody new, and you say it's going great. Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, yeah. Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, yeah. Tell me why we ain't. Now if he's so great, then why are you so late? Tell me why we ain't. And we both should have said then what I want to say now. Tell me why we ain't. It's been 6 weeks gone since I saw you last time. Tell me why we ain't. And if we're all through, then why do you even ask me? Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, yeah. Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, yeah. Tell me why we ain't. I'm looking at you, and you're looking at me too. Tell me why we ain't. I can feel this, and I know you feel it too. Tell me why we ain't. Do 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 why we ain't. Do 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 do. Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why we ain't. Tell me why we ain't.
Now, is that on one of your CDs?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I recorded, but I think that one's on there.
You have a few CDs out, and what's the best place for people to find you if they want to?
I think CD Baby.
Okay.
If people know about CD Baby,
Yeah.
you can download them and
Okay.
for 99 cents a track. And
And you have a website too, right?
yep, boogiewoogiekid.com.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But that makes more sense than your name,
Yeah.
Boogie Woogie Kid. Yeah, that's may as well ride that wave, right?
Right.
Yeah, go for it. Okay. Well, good. And you said you wanted to play another one?
Yeah, I'll do another original here for
Okay.
you. Let me see.
And again, is this one on a CD by chance?
This may be.
Okay. That's people can find them.
Yeah, I mean, once I record the CDs, I don't listen to them. I just
Really?
Yeah.
You just done with them and move on, right?
I can't stand listening to myself.
Are
I
you
don't know.
serious?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know exactly why. I think because I'm my own worst critic.
Oh,
You know.
okay.
So.
Interesting.
So this is a song called "I Used to Love the Radio," which is really just about getting old, which is no fun.
I'm glad you said that that's what it was about. I mean, I'm in radio, so I'm glad that's what the reason.
I felt I had to. Okay.
All right.
used to love that radio. It would play my favorite songs. I'll turn it on now. I don't know how all those songs have gone away. I used to have black thick hair. Now it's all turning green. I look at me now, I don't know how it's all fading away. I used to be 21. I was full of fight and full of play. I look at me now, I don't know how, somewhere it's gone away. Oh, I used to be 35. I was full of thoughts and full of plans, yeah. I look around now, I don't know how all they went away. I used to have lots of friends. I'd see them every day, but I just turned around. I don't know how, somewhere they went away. I can see decades past. To me it was just like yesterday, but I just turned around. I don't know how, all is all gone. I go to church, say my little prayers. I'm not sure who really cares. As I look around now, I don't know how I'm supposed to live today. Oh, I've done a little this, I've done a little that. I think I've maybe tried it all. I'll turn around now, I don't know how. Soon I know I'll be gone. I used to love that radio. It would play my favorite songs. I turn it on now, I don't know how all those songs are gone.
Nice. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Some good stuff there.
My pleasure.
Again, people find you at boogiewoogiekid.com.
Yeah. Or Facebook.
Or Facebook.
I'm on
okay.
Facebook as the Boogie Woogie Kid too.
Okay. Or they can, your name, they'll find you by just your regular name? or-
Yeah, but that's like that's my. You're gonna
That's
see
what you wanna be
pictures
known
of my
for.
kid. Not if you want to get the music information, go to Boogie Woogie Kid.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure, and you know, got me toe tapping the day, so that's cool. Appreciate
you,
it. And thanks to all of you out there for tuning in. As always, we do appreciate that in our beautiful MusicTown studios here. And until next time, I'm Pam Rossi. Have a great week.